See, this is why you don't mess with people's pets. Yo, so I have had a tendency in the past of there are certain movies that have come into the cinemas and I've kind of missed them while they've been there, but then I've ended up getting them on DVD and enjoying them. Movies such as Inside Out, Wreck It Ralph, Zootropolis, and the two Fantastic Beasts movies. The latest one I thought to try out that I'd heard people loved, but I personally never saw in the cinema, John Wick. John Wick seems to have become a franchise that's taken over the world. Literally, for the past few months, it was all. People were referencing John Wick everywhere, saying this and that and this and that and this and that, all over the place about John Wick. There was even a case of, I believe there was a story on Instagram of one woman who'd actually gone Jane Wick to get her dog back after her dog was stolen, which John Wick was almost impossible to avoid for a while, and which is weird for me because it just kind of passed me by and I didn't really notice it until I actually decided to sit down and take a watch. I mean, this movie came out in 2014 when I would have been around about sixth form, so it was a little while ago. But then, with its two sequels, it's been gaining traction over the past few years, and I kind of felt it inevitable that I would have to kind of look at it sooner or later. Anyway, for those who don't know, like me for example, John Wick follows the adventures of a former assassin played by Keanu Reeves, named of course John Wick. His wife unfortunately passed away from cancer, but after she did, she left him a puppy, a beagle puppy. Yeah, something for him to look after, something for him to pour all his love into. However, not too soon afterwards, his car is stolen by kind of a group of criminals who kind of wanted him to sell them the car. He refused to do so, and not only do they steal his car, but they kill his dog. So essentially, what he does is he kind of digs up his past and is ready to hunt them down and kill the person who killed his dog, which is kind of fun to watch. I mean, he is helped along the way. The movie does have a good cast. I mean, for example, yeah, Keanu Reeves in the lead. He shows this, I think, for many people, is the comeback performance of Keanu Reeves. He's had an interesting career with some ups and downs, but yeah, he is a perfect choice for this. I mean, you believe this man's an assassin who's out to get you, and he does it very well. He's also helped along the way by another assassin named by Willem Dafoe, who I believe at one point in the movie starts to kill him, but ends up doing things to help him along the way. And there's also the other third name that I did recognise, well, once told from this movie, is Ian McShane, who is apparently the owner of the hotel, who apparently does show up. I mean, I personally recognise his name from Kung Fu Panda, but he has had a long, glistening career. But he's mostly after the guy, the mob boss played by the late Michael Nyqvist, and his son played by Alfie Allen. He's mainly after Alfie Allen because Alfie Allen killed his dog. So he's just really looking for that. Just Michael Nyqvist kind of just gets kind of caught up in it, and they also have a rather interesting female assassin who kind of is out to stop him, played by Adrienne Palicki. Yeah, she's good as well. She isn't quite on the level of the other two, but then she just has some good parts. I mean, I admit, I haven't said already spoilers ahead, but I will admit this is a movie that, like, I've only actually properly seen two of Keanu Reeves' movies. One which was The Matrix, which I personally saw a few years ago. I heard people going on and on about The Matrix, and it kind of sat on my shelf for years, and I don't know, until I finally sat down and watched it, and I thought it was good. Yeah, don't get me wrong, I thought it was good. I thought it was a good film. I didn't necessarily think I wanted putting it in my personal top 10, but I could see why people liked it. And the other one, which I ended up watching for school several years ago, was his appearance in Much Ado About Nothing from 1993, where he plays the film's villain Don John, to which I feel he did a good job in that. I've kind of debated with myself getting his adaptation of Constantine from 2005 for the past few years, but then again, I feel like a purist now, where I kind of feel that Matt Ryan has so well become John Constantine that I just don't know if I can see anyone else in the role. I mean, I might try Keanu Reeves' interpretation of it out someday, but I don't know, I'm a little hesitant to do so. But I kind of feel about John Wick the same way that I felt about The Matrix. Hear me out on this. When I saw The Matrix, I could see why people thought it was a good film. I personally enjoyed it. I could see why it was so revolutionary. I could see why people loved it. It was a good film, at least in my views. I didn't think I would put it in my top 10, and I haven't. I can see why it's a good film, but I don't know, it's just not the cup of tea that I would personally enjoy. I mean, I can see why people like it. It is a good film, but it's not in my top 10. And to be honest, I feel John Wick goes the same way. Once again, I can see why people like it. This is a brilliant film. It has some incredible action sequences. It's got a lead that you genuinely feel for. And yeah, I do feel it's a good film. Will it make my top 10 for 2019, 2020? Probably not. But then again, I've only seen the first film at the moment. I mean, the DVD that I bought has the first two films on it, so I have heard that it does get better. That number one introduces you to the world, and number two, you fully dive into it, and it goes like it goes. I have heard that the third one, people are up and down whether or not it's actually a good film. But evidently it's doing something right, as they have apparently a fourth one planned for either 2020 or 2021. So, yeah, the John Wick franchise I don't see slowing down anytime soon. But, you know what, after having slept on this franchise, in fact, for partially not even known it was there for the past 5 years, having watched John Wick 1, yeah, I can see why people like it. You know what, I may even come back I may even try number 2. And possibly, if that's any good, I may try for number 3 as well. But, you know what, John Wick, I think that's a good film. Yeah, not necessarily the cup of tea that I would always come back to, but you know what, I feel if it was around and I was bored, then yeah, I feel I would stick John Wick on. It's a good film, not necessarily to my taste, but you know what, sometimes that's all you want. Sometimes you just want a big dumb a big kind of action movie with lots of fun, explosives and shooting. You know what, that's what John Wick's good for. That's what I felt about it. Anyway, maybe someday I will get on to watching John Wick 2 and possibly 3. We'll never know. Anyway, until next time, see ya.